So what I'm trying to concentrate on here is checks and balances to prevent tyranny. Let's just do a little bit. What are checks and balances? It's divided into three areas: the separation of powers, the executive, legislative, judicial, bicameralism, a two-house legislature, and federalism, the approximate division of power between the national and the state governments. Approximate. By having each of these, the House and the Senate, fight it out and compromise. The executive and the Congress fight it out and compromise. That brings up a thought. Why is the Affordable Care Act the most anti-constitutional act in recent memory? There was no compromise. No, I don't care any word in the entire bill. I couldn't care less. There was no compromise, which, if you understand the American system, that's why there are so many people against it. They weren't a part of the process. If you're not a part of the process, you've been kicked out. You're a loser, and you seek revenge. That's what the founders were trying to avoid, and they've done it pretty well, which again is kind of another thing. What has the Electoral College done wrong that you need to get rid of it? But checks and balances, especially at the national level, come in a few different forms. And what I have up here is the way in which elections work. Whoops. Alrighty. Now, I think this is rather important to understand exactly what's going on here. Anybody think I can get up there again? So what we have here is the people are sovereign. That's it. Everything comes from the people. But the people are not entitled to vote. Why? We're not a democracy, which comes as a huge surprise for many people. Democracy comes from two Greek words: demos, meaning people, kratos, meaning rule. The people don't rule. They're the sovereign. They are the reason all of this is given legitimacy. We allow this to work. Now, it might not seem it. It really mightn't, but that's the problem of a lack of civic education. So what we have here is the people directly elect the House of Representatives. They go for 2-year terms. That framework right there restricts the House of Representatives. That's what Madison was doing, was building a framework. Similar to, I don't know, if you're over in psychology and you're doing an experiment with white rats, you can construct the framework so that a mouse comes out wherever you want. Well, that's it. This is designed to do a very specific thing, which I'll get to. Now, the people elect the Senate for 6-year alternating terms. And what was that? I can't read it. They're people. They are the people of the state elect senators, or as it used to be, state legislatures. Which, if I'm allowed to come to that constitutional convention, I'll knock out the 17th Amendment. It destroyed the state. How about let's do away with the 18th Amendment? Quick, more. Come on. I'll do away with all of them. I get applause. So, the Senate is elected by the people, but indirectly. And then we come here. President, people, 4 years. State legislators used to appoint the Electoral College, who went for the president. So what does this framework prevent? First, these guys are in there for 2 years, and they want to get reelected. And they're like busy little beavers. I want to get something done. I have to get something done. I really have to, or I won't get elected. And then along comes the Senate, who's elected for 6 years. And they're a little more moderate, a little more calm. And as Jefferson said, the Senate is the plate which cools the hot tea. The House is very hot. Why? 2 years. That's all you have to sell yourself. These guys can be more moderate. That's the point. And only 1/3 of the Senate is elected every 6 years. What'd I say? No, senators yes, I'm sorry. Every 2 years, 1/3. Thank you. And the president here, 4 years. So what you see is there will never be, although people are reelected quite often since World War II, members of the House of Representatives who have run for re-election have been elected by over 90% of the time. A House job is permanent. But what are we preventing here? These guys becoming too chummy with these guys. With human frailties, it happens. But you see what we're trying to prevent here is any of these groups getting together and forming what Madison called a faction. And for Madison, a faction is a group united contrary to the common good. What's the common good in a liberal society? Liberal, I mean the individual. Classical liberalism, I'm sorry. I saw some people taking out the knives there, so. Anybody? Bill?
Freedom?
Yeah, freedom. That's the purpose of the government, and it's corollary to prevent tyranny.